In a world that calls itself free, where every opinion should have the space to emerge, the most urgent question is whether the information that reaches people's eyes and ears every day truly reflects reality, or if it's just a carefully crafted illusion. It's an uncomfortable, even irritating doubt, but a necessary one, because it touches directly on how people think, choose, and desire. Freedom becomes an illusion when even the information that shapes thoughts and beliefs is controlled by those who benefit from keeping society divided, distracted, and content. In a world like this, the real question isn't whether there's manipulation, but how to respond to it. Anyone paying attention to how news travels today knows the media system is anything but neutral. It's clear to most that information doesn't exist to tell the world as it is, but rather to decide what should be seen, what should be ignored, what should be feared, and what should be desired. The power to tell the story of reality has become the power to shape consciousness, to protect the interests of a few, and to preserve a social order where the most important decisions are made far from the people they affect. This is no longer a theory to be debated. It's a widely shared awareness, fueled by decades of increasingly sophisticated manipulation. And within all this, the work of thinkers like Noam Chomsky remains essential for understanding how this invisible machine really works. This machine that shapes thoughts, opinions, and behaviors. There's no need to wonder anymore if information is controlled. The question now is what's left of individual freedom in a world where even beliefs are manufactured upstream. Every day, people are flooded with news from countless sources. It creates the feeling of being informed, engaged, and aware of what's happening in the world. But what if that feeling itself is constructed, not a reflection of truth, but of narrative design? Noam Chomsky, one of the most respected linguists and intellectuals of our time, raised a crucial point. The information circulating around us is not neutral. It's selected, filtered, and packaged to uphold a very specific economic and political order. According to him, modern capitalism is fundamentally incompatible with true democracy, not because elections, debates, or media outlets are missing, but because control over information lies firmly in the hands of economic power. In a system where a small elite owns almost everything, even the telling of facts becomes a tool to preserve the status quo. There's freedom to choose between brands of the same product, but not to question the mechanism that makes that product possible in the first place. There's freedom to be outraged over a political scandal, but rarely the conditions to truly understand the structural logic that made it inevitable. According to Chomsky, the problem isn't personal, it's systemic. There's no secret puppet master feeding lines to journalists. Instead, there's a web of quiet but powerful influences. The media depend on advertisers, corporate owners, and access to official sources. All these factors together shape what gets reported and what stays in the shadows. This is the mechanism Chomsky and Edward Herman called the propaganda model, a system built on 5 filters. The first filter is ownership concentration. Most major media outlets are owned by large industrial or financial conglomerates. That means those who control the economy also shape the public narrative. The second filter is profit. Content is selected not for its social value, but for its ability to generate clicks, ratings, and ad revenue. The third filter is sourcing. Journalists and editors rely heavily on official statements from governments, corporations, and institutions, often avoiding deeper investigation to maintain privileged access. The fourth filter is flack, meaning the pressure or backlash from powerful actors aiming to suppress uncomfortable reporting. The fifth is the dominant ideology. In the past, it was anti-communism. Today, it might be anti-terrorism or other narratives used to justify political and corporate actions. One of the clearest examples of how this dynamic works is media coverage of climate change. Even when the crisis is acknowledged, the focus is often on individual responsibility. Use less plastic, turn off the lights, recycle more. These are all important habits, but they distract from the root causes: highly polluting industries, lenient policies toward multinational corporations, and powerful lobbies that block serious environmental regulation. In this way, responsibility is shifted onto individuals, while the real culprits carry on untouched. The same logic applies to economic narratives. It's constantly repeated that anyone can make it, that success only requires effort, and if someone falls behind, it's because they didn't try hard enough. But this story ignores the larger context: stagnant wages, widespread job insecurity, and a rising cost of living. A system built on inequality needs to hide it, and the most effective way to do that is to convince people that their struggles are entirely their fault. Chomsky explains that even the illusion of participation plays a crucial role. Elections become emotional spectacles where people argue over surface-level details, while the deeper structural issues go untouched. There's a sense of choice, but the boundaries of the debate have already been set. As Aldous Huxley once said, "The best way to control people is to make them feel they are free while they are being manipulated." With the rise of social media, the situation has only grown more complex. Where once information passed through centralized channels, today it can come from anywhere. But this hasn't necessarily improved the quality of what reaches the public. On the contrary, it's made it easier for false stories, conspiracy theories, and organized disinformation campaigns to spread, often pushed by political or economic actors. Social platforms operate on algorithms that reward engagement, not accuracy. And engagement thrives on strong emotions, anger, fear, outrage. In this environment, separating truth from fiction becomes increasingly difficult. During the pandemic, for instance, a false claim about a so-called miracle cure for COVID-19 went viral. It was presented in a highly convincing way, with visuals mimicking those of legitimate news outlets. It spread quickly because it offered hope in a moment of fear, confirmed existing doubts, and tapped into the widespread distrust toward institutions. The result? Millions exposed to real health risks, and an even deeper erosion of trust in science. In a world like this, developing strong critical thinking skills becomes essential. Media literacy is no longer optional. It's a survival skill. It means asking who's speaking, why they're saying it, and what interests might be behind the message. It means learning to distinguish facts from opinions, verifying sources, and avoiding emotional and sensational traps. It also means breaking out of personal bubbles, seeking out different perspectives, and supporting independent journalism that tries to go beyond the surface. Being aware doesn't mean being paranoid. It means becoming an active citizen, someone who can recognize when information stops being a tool for freedom and becomes a weapon for control. As Chomsky said, the first step toward liberation is to understand how power works. Power today isn't enforced only through force, but through narrative. And whoever controls the narrative controls the possibility of change. So the real challenge isn't just fighting fake news. It's digging deeper, questioning who decides what gets told, how it's framed, and why. Only then can we begin to imagine a future where information truly serves truth, not profit. Real freedom starts with awareness. It would be something extraordinary to live in a world where every choice is guided by truly free information, unfiltered by economic interests or systems of control, where thoughts and opinions are born from genuine understanding, not from narratives crafted to serve someone else's goals. Are we still in time to build a more conscious society? Or has that train already passed us by, never to return?